Episode number 7, Post-Workout Chats with Coach Marco. I'm here with Sarah Hryniewicz. God, see, I'm going to butcher it. I know I'm going to butcher it.
It's okay, everybody does. There's no reason for anyone to get that right.
So you were just telling me that that's the American way to pronounce your name.
Yes. And I'm not even going to try to do the Polish because I would if we weren't on camera, but I know that a Polish person will tell me that I'm stupid again. So it's just not worth it. My grandpa spoke Polish and he tried to teach me when I was very young, and I just didn't care enough.
You're just going with Hryniewicz.
Yeah, Hryniewicz.
AKA Quadzilla.
Yes.
So those in our studio probably know you more as Quadzilla, right on the OT Beat screen.
Yeah.
Where does Quadzilla come from?
Actually, Marcy, her girlfriend, Kristen, she just put that as my name on OT Beat.
Oh, she just chose it for you?
Yeah, she just chose
randomly.
it for me.
Okay, so you didn't pick it.
No.
That's how I feel like nicknames should be.
I kind of agree, because also it feels like it would be very, it would be weird if I decided it for myself that I was Quadzilla.
Yeah. Well, confidence.
Yeah, for sure. But still, it would be a little too much maybe.
Thanks for bringing the C4, by the way.
You are absolutely welcome. I figured I should be very caffeinated for this.
Yeah. You are a C4 rep.
Yeah,
correct?
So I've been working with them since the beginning of January, and it's been awesome. It's been a really, really cool experience. It's so funny because they were my first pre-workout that I ever tried, which I feel like is kind of the case for anybody when they first start fitness.
Yeah.
You go into GNC and C4 is one of the first things that you see. So it was my first pre-workout ever, like 5-6 years ago. And then I was approached by them in like January. And so it's just kind of cool how that all came around.
So that they just reached out to you via...
Yeah. So one of their like social media people reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in working with them. And immediately I was like, yeah, absolutely. So we got on a call and then we kind of figured things out from there. But I've done 2 shoots with them so far, and I'm in like constant communication with them. They're like really, really nice to work with. And I have a mini fridge full of C4, so nice. I am not complaining.
That must be an awesome experience, just starting to do that now.
Yeah.
I'm going to backtrack because I think I didn't do a good job of leading us in.
Yeah. Or no, you did.
Why don't we start with who are you and how would you describe yourself as a fitness person and your background in the industry and where you fell in love with it?
Yeah. So right now, I would consider myself more of like a strength training athlete. My whole like goal with the future of my fitness is definitely to compete in strongman, to continue competing. I had to take the last year off just because I had a back injury, which is one of the reasons that you saw me power walking for so long.
Yeah.
But I'm getting back into everything. I also had shin splints. I need to get new gym shoes. But when I first started, I was a year out of high school, and I had absolutely no experience with fitness at all, like at all. I played softball in high school, and I skipped every single one of the weight training sessions that we would have on the off season. Never went. I think I went into the weight room at the high school like 2 times when you had to for gym class. Yep. And other than that, literally no experience. So I randomly went into a hotel gym when we were on vacation, and it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I started Googling exercises, and I was like 18. And so I started Googling exercises, and I just thought it was really fun. And so I just didn't stop. And so when we got back from that vacation, I spent every single like extra minute that I had just like researching, and I got really into fitness YouTube and watching like all the OGs like Nikki Blacketer and Christian Guzman and like all those people. And so I would like take their programs, I would watch all of their vlogs to steal all of their workouts and write them all down, and like I made my own programs and stuff, and I didn't know at all what I was doing. So I would spend hours at the gym. Like if I felt like I didn't have a good lift, I would do the lift again. Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It wasn't beneficial at all in any way, but I just loved it. And so it was more of it was interesting because I feel like I was really, really lost after high school. And so that gave me a lot of purpose, which was exciting. And it was, I don't know, it's a nice time to like look back on. It's very like nostalgic.
I feel like that's a lot of like people who do what we do. I feel like that's their story. I was in school, I wasn't sure, and I fell in love with this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like it's a fallback option. I really feel like me, you, trainers out there really fall in love with and you can just get obsessed with, like you said, making your own workouts.
It becomes a thing that you do not just because you feel like, oh, I want to be healthy, which is a good reason, but it just becomes something that you love. And so it really did become more of like just a straight up lifestyle. Like, this is everything that I want to be. And obviously, like, I made a bunch of mistakes with it because that's kind of the way that it goes. But anyway, so when I first got into it, because of the people that I was following and I didn't have any previous knowledge at all, I did a very like bro type of split. So it was very bodybuilding focused, but also with not a bunch of science backing any of it up, which is what it is. And I was really, really consistent. And I think that was the best like foundation that I could have built, was the consistency and the amount of effort that I brought every single day.
Yeah.
So, and again, that was there because I loved it. So even though I wasn't doing things in the most efficient way, technically, I still was trying really, really hard, and it ended up so that I do think that, you know, like the newbie gains and all that, I think I did maximize that without realizing why or how. And so I did build up strength and my like muscle gain within the first 6 to 8 months, like more than I think I would have expected, especially looking back at how I was doing everything now. But within that first year, I made a bunch of friends at the gym, which was awesome because it's, you know, being part of that community is such a fantastic thing. And so I made some really good friends, and I decided that I wanted to compete in bodybuilding, and I wanted to do a figure. And I don't know how familiar you are with bodybuilding or like women's bodybuilding, but it goes bikini and then figure and then physique.
Right.
And so,
okay.
you know, so like bikini would be, I was not big enough for figure. I was not muscular enough, but I also didn't want to believe that I wasn't not like it, that it wasn't at that point. And so I did figure, and it was fine. It was a really fun experience. I loved the prep because everything was so intense. It was like, you have to eat this amount of this, and you have to make sure you're getting your cardio in. And it was fun to have that intensity. But I was not ready for it at all. And so I did end up placing in that show, which is good, but it really was only because of the competition that was there. It had nothing to do with how good I was. It just had to do with the people who didn't end up showing up.
Sure.
Which is fine. And after I was done with that, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that again. This is going to be my life. And so my off season, I started, you know, I was training really hard, and I started like accidentally doing more strength training. And I realized that I liked being strong better than I liked being obsessed with being like shredded.
Right.
So that was the
a lot of
shift
people
for me.
are unfamiliar with the differences in the training.
Yeah.
Like they're not one and the same, although they're correlated, but not directly.
Yeah.
You can get stronger while building your physique, and, you know, vice versa. But they're different methods of training.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for me, when I was training for bodybuilding, I was very focused on, I wanted to be the strongest, like I wanted to do the heaviest tricep push down that I possibly could. And I like refused to squat until I could squat 135 because I wanted to put plates on the bar, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of laid the foundation for me then to when I did stumble into the strength training, I had enough strength that I was like super excited about the idea of getting stronger. Yeah. Which is, there's like just something about adding extra weight that you weren't able to add before. It's amazing. And so I think it probably 6 months after my bodybuilding show was when I realized, like, maybe I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. Like, maybe I want to be the strongest I could possibly be. And you really, the differences in the training, like you were talking about, if you compete in bodybuilding and even if you're in your off season, when you're adding on weight and you're not, you know, in a caloric deficit and basically getting weaker, even during that off season, you end up, you can build up a lot of progress with your strength training, but you end up losing a lot of it when you're in that prep for your bodybuilding show. So I didn't know if I wanted to give that up. Like, I was hitting numbers that I was so excited about, and I was like, I don't want to go through 3 months where I'm not able to do that. So I focused more on like a powerlifting approach. And I don't remember who it was that I was following at the time, where I was like starting to really get into like the science behind all the strength training and hypertrophy and like bodybuilding and whatnot.
You have to, if you want to be better, you have to get into it. And I feel like this is like most people's process, is that they start with the love of getting stronger or changing the way they look. And then to really get to the next level, you realize, oh, I have to get to the science. I have to figure out how I can take my game to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Because some people are just naturally predisposed to being maybe good at a specific thing.
Sure.
But you only reach a certain point, and then you have to really know what you're doing in order to get past that. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I remember something that really stuck out to me. Two things. One was that the best program is the program that you follow, always. And then the other one was that a good bodybuilding program has components of powerlifting in it, and a good powerlifting program has components of bodybuilding in it. And that stuck out to me a lot because there was, online, there's been a lot of talk about like power building and like, is that really a thing or like whatever. And so my focus kind of turned to focusing on the core lifts and getting strong, but then also putting a lot of emphasis on accessory work as well, because I still cared about being muscular at that point specifically. And so that ended up taking me through like 2 years maybe. And I was planning on competing in powerlifting. And then coach, actually my coach, strongman coach, he approached me at the gym and he was like, you should compete in strongman. And I was like, what's strongman? And so he kind of told me, and I don't know, are you familiar with strongman much?
Vaguely.
I mean, it's basically powerlifting, but you lift weird stuff.
Right.
And so
like the stones.
Yeah, the stones and like you got truck pulls and it's the car deadlifts. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And so he approached me and he was like, I've got this competition coming up. You should do it. So I did it for fun. I was like, this is the best thing in the world. And so it was like a more exciting version of what I had been training. Like I was training for strength, but like now I get to lift cars. Like that sounds really fun. So that was when I immediately fell in love with strongman. And so I was like, I don't need to do powerlifting. I still kind of feel like I'd like to do a powerlifting competition, but my main focus would definitely be strongman. And so that's been the past few years, again, with having.
And you're looking to do it again soon, right?
Yeah. Probably next year. Just because I want to build up my strength again. Like I kind of screwed myself the past year with having that back injury and I wasn't able to train the way I wanted to. So,
I mean, I've never competed in either, but I think for me, strength training and doing a strongman competition, the thing I would like about it most is because I love food so much that if you're trying to build your body and your physique and you're trying to get shredded, the dieting is so different.
Yeah.
That I feel like training for that would not be a happy place for me. And I know that if I were ever do like a powerlifting competition or a strongman competition, I feel like that would be something I would love training for more. Just from my outside perspective. But do you feel the same?
I do, especially now. I've never been good at dieting. I've never loved it. And I think that nutrition and dieting is one of the hardest and most complicated parts of training that people overcomplicate in their mind too. And overthink. Yeah. And I think that for a lot of people, dieting is probably not the best route for them in terms of happiness with their training. Obviously depending on your goals and stuff. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree. At this point now, the idea of dieting down for 3 months sounds horrible to me. So it doesn't seem like it's worth the end goal. I don't think is worth it personally. But that's why it's a sport. Like you have to be super into what you're doing. Otherwise it's not going to be worth it. I feel like at that point in time, I was just so obsessed with what I was doing that I had blind confidence where I did not deserve to have. Like,
That's good though. If you're in sports, I feel like you need that.
I kind of agree. But I do think that comes from not being super obsessed with the way that I was looking. Because I think that seems to be where most of the insecurity lies. And if I was super obsessed with that specific thing and only that, I definitely could see why I would have been a little bit more like apprehensive. But I was like, no, like I maxed out tricep push down. So like I'm doing good. Like it didn't have to make sense. I just, you find something that you're proud of and then kind of ride that wave.
I mean, confidence comes in preparation and you loved it so much. It sounds like you were prepared. You trained hard enough to know that like I feel confident in this moment. Yeah. And that's kind of how it has to be. Like if you're doing anything. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Being proud of yourself is the root of, is the root of kind of who you are and why you keep going. So it is important. I think I get asked a lot about like being confident and being, you know, whatever people seem to like see from the outside looking in. And my main piece of advice always with confidence and like not letting negativity get to you is to not need the not need the compliments from other people. Like if you need to be gassed up by other people, then when people try to tear you down, it's going to work.
Right.
You know, so if you have a very consistent level, like, hey, I appreciate this about myself and I'm proud of this about myself, and somebody tells you, hey, you're doing an amazing job. Yeah, take the compliment, but that shouldn't make you feel all that much better. You know, just in the same way when somebody's like, hey, you're stupid and you're not doing anything right.
That affirmation is not needed for
exactly.
for you if you really like what you do.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to know people's opinion about it.
And there's there's nothing wrong with enjoying when people are telling you you're doing something great. But if it does, like if you're riding that high specifically, you're just getting ready to crash. So
I think this is a good segue about how we know each other. It's through OTF. And so now you are a coach at OTF Northbrook.
Yep.
But you're a frequent visitor at OTF Algonquin.
Very frequent. Because it is much closer to my house.
Right. Yeah.
So I've been with Orange Theory it's been 4.5 years. I started out, I initially was planning on being a coach when I first started, but within the first like few months, they were like, hey, do you want to be the assistant manager up at the front? Because I was starting like as a sales associate before I was waiting for the next like coaching like audition or whatever it was. I don't remember. So I was like, great. Yeah, that's so fun because I already loved being up at the front. I was like, awesome, I'll do that. And so I ended up being the assistant manager there until COVID basically. And then right after COVID is when I started actually coaching. So I'd been a part of Orange Theory for a really long time, and I wish I would have started coaching sooner. I love it. It's so much fun.
Me too.
It's so much fun. So the process of me becoming a coach, I initially didn't want it. So I wanted to be a coach right off the bat. And then I became the assistant manager. And then I was like, no, I don't want to be a coach. Like, I don't have to hear myself on the mic. Like we were talking about before. I did not like the idea of hearing myself on a mic.
And for those who don't know, when you are going to be a coach at Orange Theory, you have to go through a mic test. And I've never, so all my years training, group fitness, or just one-on-ones, I never had to use a mic. And that was, we talked about maybe one of the biggest apprehensions for 100%. People wanting to coach at Orange Theory. It's so, there's something about hearing your voice. Especially when you're not used to it. And also on a mic, it sounds different. That really was my main apprehension. I'm surprised at how winded I can get sometimes talking, because like you figure if you're using a mic, you don't have to talk as loud. You don't have to like really use that diaphragm. I used to coach, like I said, at Title Boxing. And we didn't use mics at our studio. And it was like a room of like 40 to 60 people that I'm yelling at over music. And one day at Orange Theory, our music got cut out. And I was like, what do I do? I just had to keep coaching. Or no, I'm sorry, not the music. The mic got cut out. The music was still there. The mic got cut out. And so I took the mic off and I was just yelling. I'm like, I can do this. I used to do this all the time. It's not the same. I can't do it anymore after getting used to the mic. Mic. That's so funny. That happened to me one time, and my voice does not carry. And so I turned the music down, and they were in an all out. This was so bad. My mic just completely cut out. It wasn't like the batteries died. Like it completely stopped working. And so I turned the music down, and I'm like running up and down the aisle, like walking recovery. The all outs are the worst, especially when it's the music. Oh my gosh. Because it's like silence and everyone's sprinting. I know, and you can hear that's rough. That's happened an annoying amount of times. Right, yeah. But yeah, that's really funny. Sometimes the music has cut out when I'm demoing, and I almost think that that's worse, because then I can hear how out of breath I am while I'm demoing. Because normally, like when you have the music there, you don't realize, like when you take that deep breath, you're like, okay, and then you go on. But when the music isn't there, you hear how breathless you are, and it's not great. It's not good. It's not good. It sounds like you just don't know what you're doing. Right. And guys, follow Sarah on Instagram, Sarah _. And what's the last name? You could just spell it. That's fine too. That's even harder. Sarah _HRYNIEWICZ. Remember that. Dude, I can't even remember the pronunciation. It's okay. Say it again. Hryniewicz. God.
It's fine. No one ever does. That is one of the most frequently asked questions on my page ever is my
Really?
last name. 100%.
Anyway, follow her because she does a lot of her workouts. You'll see definitely sumo deadlifts, just any like anything you do in your workout, but you'll also see a lot of handstands.
Yes. That was actually something that I started doing during COVID.
Really?
Yeah, I really wish that I would have done gymnastics growing up. Like, I would love to be able to do like
Me
tumbling
too, kind
and
of.
stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just, it seems like
Well,
it was
because
such a
I
fun
think it would have
thing.
translated to like doing Ninja Warrior and stuff like that.
Yeah. It would translate to a lot, really.
Well, of course, yeah.
know,
I mean,
but-
those are some of the best athletes, strength athletes, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started doing a bunch of handstands and pistol squats and
There's
like
like this
random
love
stuff
of
like that.
handstands. I was surprised.
I love it. It's so much fun. And I remember the first time I really ever started like trying to do one, it was between sets of deadlifts, and that was a stupid idea because I was so lightheaded.
Right, yeah.
Because you're not used to being upside down. Like, it takes a while. At this point, not that I'm a seasoned handstand athlete by any means, but like at this point I could do handstands for like 45 minutes and like I probably
Like-
I wouldn't be very lightheaded.
Not like in one
Well,
one
not-
handstand.
I would not hold one handstand.
I thought you
but,
went for
could
like the record
I
or
could like
something.
hang out outside.
Do you know the
like,
world record?
No. Do you?
No, but
I don't know
You do handstands all the time, so I thought you
No,
might know.
I mean.
You should look it up and you should go
look
for
it up.
it.
I do that. I mean, I hold them for like 10, 15 seconds. I can do it in like 10-second increments for like 45 minutes.
Okay.
Without getting lightheaded. But
That's
the
a
first
lot
time
of
that I
that's
ever
a
did
lot
it,
of reps.
first time I ever did it.
10 seconds, 45 minutes. That's like
I mean, this is like if I'm like hanging outside with my dogs
That's
and like
a lot.
throwing a ball at the same time. I'm not like
okay.
I don't have like a timer going.
It's
or
not
something.
like solely spent on handstands.
Yeah, it's
it's
not
like
like
I'm
go
doing a
down and back
handstands,
up.
play with my dog,
Yeah.
I come back.
Yeah, exactly.
That ends up being 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah.
clarifying because that's
Yes. No, I'm not crazy. But getting lightheaded, the first time I ever did it, it was
Yeah.
the most like painful thing that's ever happened.
really.
Yes, and then I was doing deadlifts at the same time, so I'm like, it was just really dumb. Handstand walks are really fun too, and I went through like a very short phase of my life where I was interested in CrossFit training, just because it's fun. And
Yeah.
so I was doing that for like a summer, and that was what got me into like trying to do handstand walks
Okay. Yeah.
because they do those all the time.
Yeah, of course, because anyone can do those.
Yeah, right.
Just put that in a group exercise. Yeah.
It's so interesting watching the CrossFit athletes do handstand walks though, because they have like their feet are like hanging over. They look like scorpions kind of
Yeah.
as they walk. And I don't know. I mean, like, I think right off the bat, I liked the idea of like feeling kind of more like a gymnast, like in trying to stay up. But I also had no idea what I was doing, so it didn't really matter one way
It's
or
just
the
fun.
other.
Like it sounds like everything you get into is just because you thought it might be fun.
Yeah. And I think that that's the only reason that anything that when I get into something, I get really, really into it and it sticks forever pretty much. Like, I mean, it's been a year of me like just doing handstands for no reason.
Yeah. That's okay.
I'm just going to keep doing it.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah. And then I think it was around the same time that I got into the pistol squat thing too. And for some reason, people really like seeing pistol squats. Like I posted it one time on
Well, you have
Instagram.
variations of pistol squats.
Yeah, well now
right?
I do.
So,
I do, but the first time it was just like a random pistol squat and people thought it was so cool and I was like,
do it
okay.
again?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'll keep doing it.
You want to do it right now? Just
Yeah,
for anyone who
like,
doesn't know what a
jump
pistol
on
squat is, let's demo.
Just watch me, I'm just gonna fall over.
No, it's usually
I
good.
normally do it when I'm holding on to my feet.
It's a single leg squat.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But I normally hold on to my foot because it helps with stability. But it's a good thing to work on.
Well, so you did it once, and then it was just something people wanted to see.
Yeah, it was weird, and so
There
now
it
I
is.
just do different variations, and there's really fun challenges. You know, like jumping up and pistol squat thing. Actually, this is something that I feel like is worthwhile talking about too.
Okay.
I've had conversations with people, and I'm trying to be very intentional with who I respond to on
Sure.
Instagram.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure you get a lot of just
There's a lot of opinions
Yeah,
on
okay.
everything all the time, and a lot of times it's coming from people who just want to egg a response, and
Yeah.
they don't really care what I have to say. But there was one person who was like freaking out about my pistol squats because like those are so bad for your knees, like you're like perpetuating like all of this, and I was like, whatever. And so I responded, and I was like, I'm not sure if you actually want to have a conversation about this or not, but pistol squats are not going to be inherently bad for you. You could potentially not be ready for the movement.
Yeah,
like your body could, your tendons and your muscles, like your knees might not be ready for you to do a pistol squat. But that doesn't mean that pistol squats are bad.
It's so annoying when people do that.
Well,
like, what do you want? A disclaimer underneath? Like, hey, progress to this point.
Yeah, like
come
hey,
on.
make sure that you can control this movement. Otherwise, you might, whatever. So I think that's one of those things that I feel like is worthwhile to say just in general across the board. Most of the time, movements are going to be okay for you as long as you are prepared for that movement. Like, there's no exercise that is inherently bad. You're going to see people doing weird stuff, and as long as they are physically prepared and capable for that movement, it's fine. You just have to understand where you are at and kind of go from there.
You understand your body. This is one of the biggest things I tell clients or just people in general. Because there's always like what's the right way or wrong way. There's no right or wrong way specifically.
Yeah.
There are ways to do movements. If your body can do it, it's a way to do a movement. You have to understand what the consequences are for your joints and muscle groups by doing the movement this way.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But people like to know, like, this is the right way to squat. And sure, it could be,
but that's that movement that I would specifically bring up is with squatting.
Oh, it's the number one.
So much variation. And that is one of those things that back in 2016, when I was getting into fitness, that was one of those things that I was like, I remember watching people on Instagram and I would be like, well, their knees are going over their toes. Like, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, in reality, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Because there is so much variation, like people have different femur lengths. Like, that in and of itself is going to change the way that a squat is going to look. And so, that is my favorite example of a movement. Like, if somebody can tell you without seeing your body how you specifically should squat, you should not listen to them.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad you brought that one up.
So I was going to ask you this. What are some of the most frequently asked questions that you get? Because I know you get a lot of questions.
Yeah, like in terms of fitness?
Yeah, or in general too.
Yeah. So most frequently in terms of fitness would be, glute growth is something that a lot of girls want to know about. And so my main piece of advice always is, like I said before, the best program is the program that you stick to.
Yep.
So if you're finding something that you're consistent with, that is going to be the number one. You need to make sure that you're eating enough. That's going to be different for everybody. It's not something that you can just like throw out a number and say,
eat, guys, eat.
Eat.
It is
You
important.
gotta eat your food. My general piece of advice, and I'm not a dietitian or anything, but my general piece of advice is just stay away from foods that make you feel bad. And other than that, eat a lot. Training with intensity is something that I think a lot of people, and I don't even want to say like just girls specifically, because I do think that a lot of people are just afraid to train with intensity. It's within reason, it is okay for your form to break down. So make sure that you are getting to a point, like let's say you're doing hip thrusts and you're doing 4 sets of 12. Make sure that you can't make it to 15. If you can make it to 15 reps and you're aiming for 12, you probably should be going heavier.
God, I can't stress it enough when we describe, like let's say for example, it's an Orange Theory strength day.
Yeah.
When people select weights and I see, you can tell when someone can, you don't feel what they're feeling, but you can tell someone can do a couple more, but not even a couple more, like 10 more reps.
Yeah, like they're just deciding to put the dumbbells down.
I say it after every demo of every strength block, like a broken record. If you can do more than 6, either A, do more.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
If you're unwilling to go heavier, which is fine, because there are some weight ranges where it's like, well, I'm not ready for the 10 pound or 5 pound increase. Like, so just do a couple extra reps and take it to the, or go heavier. Just do one of the two.
Yeah. I always say I'm never going to be mad if you only make it to 4.
Right. It's better that way.
It's
I'd
better
rather
if
you
don't make it to 6. I'd rather you be able to do that. Or I'd rather you not make it to 6 than be able to make it to like 15.
Neuromuscularly, you are training your body to get stronger. So if it knows that it couldn't do a certain lift and you continue to train that way, then it will have to build to get stronger. As long as you have the right amount of diet, like food, to support that.
Yeah, and recovery.
Yeah, you will get stronger.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway.
So yeah, no, that is something, as strength day specifically,
Yeah.
that really gets on me. So besides that, in terms of glute growth, there is a lot of BS on the internet. I don't specifically like train hypertrophy. The way that I train, the accessories, so hypertrophy would be where you're trying to build the muscle, right? So that's not necessarily the way that I train anymore. But when I first started, I was working more bodybuilding stuff, so that kind of was my goal. And now with all the accessory work that I do on top of, like, after the strength training, the accessory work would be the things that are going to be benefiting the strength training, that also will benefit muscle growth. And so the BS that's out on the internet is basically not going very heavy. A lot of the fitness influencers that you see, they're just kind of like doing their thing. And it's amazing to keep perfect form. But again, it's okay for your form to break down within reason.
Yeah,
like,
for
make
sure.
sure that you are struggling by those last reps. Other than that, there are stupid exercises. There are so many stupid exercises.
Right.
The best movements are the most simple exercises. So if you see somebody who's doing some sort of fancy like thing with a bunch of bands everywhere, stop. Just
Keep it simple.
keep it simple. Keep it simple. Lunge variations, hinging variations, squatting variations, those are going to be your best bet. There are specific ways that you can do those movements that will target your glutes better. But the truth is, if you are incorporating those movements, you are going to be inherently incorporating your glutes.
And please, if you're doing this on your own, please look up overtraining. Look up what that means, because you can overtrain and it's counterproductive to what you want to do.
Yeah, so if you're doing like 4 glute days a week, you're probably not training. Truthfully,
Seriously.
I think it comes down to, if you are not training with the amount of intensity that you should be, you feel like you can't. If you feel like you can do 4 or 5 days of your legs, you're probably not training intensely on the days that you are.
Right.
You know, it's far more effective for you to be doing 2 solid leg days, even 1, and giving it your all, rather than just breaking it up into 4 days where you're like getting a pump and that's it.
I want to do one more segment. And so this segment is going to be just a little bit of get to know you and me.
Exciting.
It's just a game of 2 truths, 1 lie.
Okay.
And I'll start off and I'll just, go through one while you think about, because I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my 2 truths, 1 lie for you, the audience, whoever,
Okay.
and figure it out. So my first one will be, I have an undefeated amateur boxing record. My next one would be, I have a degree. I graduated with a degree in political science, a bachelor's degree. And my third one is, I'm an only child.
Wow.
I had more time to think about this, so I thought that would be a good...
Wait, do you guess, or do I guess, or do you want them to guess?
Comment, guys.
Okay.
Well, they're going to find out. They're about to find out which one it is.
Okay,
So.
just comment before you find out.
Whatever.
Do you want me to guess right now?
Yeah,
or say
go ahead.
first? Okay, so I'm going to guess.
The lie.
I'm going to guess that you're not an only child.
I am an only child.
You are an only child?
Yes.
Okay, then did you not political science degree?
I am. I did major in political science.
Okay, so the one thing that I thought was maybe true is not true.
I'm glad you thought I was undefeated. So if you guys
I don't
thought
know.
the
You
same,
seemed like you could
great.
be undefeated.
So go ahead. Do you have
Okay.
one for the audience here, for the listeners? Make it challenging, even for people that might know you.
Okay.
And I know you're not an only child, because we talked about this. You have how many sisters?
I'm one of 7.
7 is crazy.
Yeah, the 3 brothers, 3 sisters.
Now I know why you had to compete so much.
Yeah, right. We're actually a very competitive family too.
Yeah, okay.
Like, very competitive.
It makes sense.
But like, we're good at losing, but we like to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good at losing.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna be a
I
sore
get it.
loser.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. See, this is hard because I feel like I have.
You're an open book.
Yeah.
Online. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was homeschooled.
Okay.
I have a fake tooth. And I graduated with a degree in kinesiology.
I'm gonna say the lie is the last one.
It is.
Yes. Win.
Well, I realized that I shouldn't have made the lie the last one because I was like thinking about it still. I wasn't sure. And then you said a graduating thing and I was like, oh, I didn't.
Well, I just thought that like the other two were kind of like very obscure things that no one would know for sure. And the other one is something like maybe that might be common knowledge. Like that can't be a lie, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well.
that's fun. Did you guys get it right? I mean, I'm glad I got it right.
Yeah. I should have done better. That's so embarrassing because I guessed for you twice and I didn't get it. Whatever.
I win. You're good at losing, so.
That's true. That's true.
I'll let you think.
Smile through the pain.
We'll do a comeback one next time, or a replay.
I would love to like come on and maybe like talk specifically like specifics about training or something.
Yeah, we'll come up with another topic because I think this is a long conversation. I feel like we have more to talk about.
Yeah.
So this is maybe to be continued.
To be continued.
We'll have Sarah.
Thank you for having me on.
God,
it's fine. Just don't even
I'm
try.
so sorry.
Just say Sarah H. That's what
Sarah
I was.
H.
Sarah H.
I'm just gonna call it Quadzilla.
Quadzilla. We'll have Quadzilla on.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks for coming today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me do a pistol squat.
Yeah.
Make me look cool in front of people.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, you're really good at them, so
Thanks. I do what I can.
I can't get there. I'm not a big pistol squat person.
Have you tried?
Yes, multiple times. I used to love Bosu balancing, and
Okay.
I used to I can do pistol squats on them, but not very well.
That's
And I have very obvious compensations when I do it.
Okay.
So I can do it, but it does not look great.
Yeah.
I'm like, so,
Like the hunchback.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, this is totally bonus content. I'm cutting this out. I'm good at them, but I'm not gonna perform. All right.
Beautiful.